Today, the topic is Yetzias Mitzrayim, because we have many mitzvahs in Pesach. Achilas matzah, morer, dalet koises, Yetzias Mitzrayim. Those are the mitzvahs of Leila Seder. The Isra of Achilas Chometz, lo yeruah v'lo yamotza. All the halachas of bedika and bittul. But the neshama of Chag HaMatzah is the spirit of Pesach. More than anything else is Yetzias Mitzrayim, telling the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim. And everybody is familiar with the Ramban. Why is it so important to tell this story? Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu dictated in advance that these amazing supernatural miracles that are totally above and beyond the realm of natural phenomena will not happen in every generation. They only happened once by Yetzias Mitzrayim. The 10 Makkos, Kriyas Yamsef, those are events totally beyond nature. And the Ramban explains at the end of Parshas Bo, if we will appreciate those nisim, we will learn to acknowledge, to see, to appreciate the nisim and historim. What we are seeing these days are nisim and historim. I said many times in the past 2 years how amazing it would have been. Breaking news, Fox News, CNN, all the outlets, all the waters in Lebanon and in Iran and in Gaza have turned red. And the greatest chemists tried to figure it out, and they were amazed to learn that all the waters are blood. They're no longer water. It didn't happen. It won't happen. Because in our generations, Ba'achlas Hayom HaKadosh Baruch Hu no longer does nisim gluyim. What we are witnessing these days, and generally in the past 2.5 years, I define as nisim gluyim nistorim. Miracles, hundreds of rockets hitting Israel, and very few people getting hurt. Against statistics. So, Baruch Hashem, we need to keep on davening. We had some tragedies, terrible tragedy, a Frum family in Beit Shemesh that lost 3 children. But still, we thank Kodesh Baruch Hu for his nisim, and we daven that Kodesh Baruch Hu should keep it up. And let us hope it'll be over because of it. So what is unique about the Nes of Mitzrayim is the fact that it was a Nes Golui mitchila v'ad soif. What is unique about the mitzvah of Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim? והגדתו לביניכו ביום ההוא לאמור בעבור זה עשו השם לי בצאצאים ממצרים. Many times I explain there is one pasuk that we say 4 times b'leila seder. And when I say this, and I ask the question, does anybody remember which pasuk that is? People don't remember. People don't realize. But this pasuk we say 4 times b'leila seder. והגדת לביניכו ביום ההוא לאמור בעבור זה עשו השם לי בצאצאים ממצרים. If we quote this pasuk 4 times b'leila seder, it must carry some very important significance. What does it mean? Ba'avur ze oso Hashem li b'tzeisim mimitzrayim. 2 different interpretations. Rabbeinu Sadia Goen says, this pasuk is a mikra mesuras, Meloshon sirus. Do you hear and see me, my friends? Do we have a problem in communication?
No, everything is good. Baruch Hashem.
Okay.
Yes.
So Rabbeinu Sadia Goen's interpretation is, ba'avur zeh, the words needs to be turned around. Zeh ba'avur, not ba'avur zeh, but zeh ba'avur. We point at the matzah, we point at the mortar, and we say, why are we eating these? Ba'avur she'osu Hashem li. Rashi is the ultimate parshan. Rashi says no. The pasuk says ba'avur zeh, kedei she'akayem mitzvotav. Kodesh Baruch Hu took us out of Mitzrayim because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be mekayim these mitzvahs. And that is why we say this 4 times. So we don't have Agudah Shel Pesach before our eyes right now, but bear this in mind and remember this and talk about it B'Leila Seder. The first time we say, when the Chacham asks, Muhu Eidis v'achukim v'hamishpotim, and then the Rashi comes, Mo avoida zois lochem. He doesn't like the Seder. And he asks, what is this all about? At the end of Masechet Psuchim in the Yerushalmi has a somewhat more nasty question that the Rosh asks. Ma torach hazeh she'atem matrichim aleinu b'kol shana v'shana. The Rosh doesn't like the Seder, and he says, what is this burden you put upon us every year? And we respond to the Rosh and we say, you call this a burden? You call this a torach? You don't like these mitzvahs? But this is the reason HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out of Mitzrayim. Kedei she'akayem mitzvotav, ilo hayisham lo hayu nigal. And then she'eni yodei alisho doesn't ask any questions. What didn't we do kedei to encourage him to ask, to provoke him to ask? Oike mesal shilchan, we steal the afikomen. We're a matbil, but he doesn't ask. And we tell him, Zisi Ingala, obviously you're not going to be a great philosopher. You don't have any questions to ask. You can't ask, but you could eat. So let's eat matzah, let's eat mora, let's drink the dalat koises, and that is more important than everything. Ba'avur zeh, osu Hashem li, B'tzeisi Mitzrayim, kedei she'akayem mitzvotav. And then we move on with the Seder, and we say, B'chol dor v'dor chayim v'odam l'rusas atzma kli yotzei b'Mitzrayim. Every generation, every individual, every Yid needs to feel as if he was there and he was redeemed. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu go'el oisai. And why is that so important? Ba'avur zeh, kedei she'akayem mitzvotav. And finally, b'shor sheyesh matzah v'morer monocham lefonecham. So Yetzias Mitzrayim is all about Kabbalas Or Malchus Shemayim. And that's the story of Gedolei Tanoim. She'misaprim b'Yetzias Mitzrayim at shebo talmidayim v'amru, Rabbi Seinu, Egia Zman ki yesh masha shachris. We have achieved our goal. We got there. We told the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim till every Talmud felt from the depth of his heart, time has come to be makabel or malchus shamayim. So the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim, the objective, the goal, the rationale is ba'avur zeh osu Hashem li b'tzeisi mitzrayim. And that is the importance of this pasuk that we recite 4 times. Here we have the Yerushalmi. Ben harosha ba'avoima, ma'u avoida zois lachem ma'atorach hazeh she'tem matrichim aleinu b'chol shana v'shana. He doesn't like this, and we say ba'avur zeh osu Hashem. Lo oisei wish lo yosei, ilo hoyu oiseish b'Mitzrayim, lo yero elegosham liyolim, because it's all about mitzvahs. And then, once again, we quote this very same pasuk as we read in the Agudah Shel Pesach. So this is the spirit of Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. And now let's get into the lumdus. Let's get into the halacha. So there's a posting in Parashas Re'eh, source number 2. Lo yisachal alav chometz shidduch yom tov l'matzis. Leman tizkeres yom tzeischo me'eretz Mitzrayim kol yomei chayecho. You all remember this posting from the Seder night. This posting does not refer to Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, Leila Seder. This is Ben Azai. Yomei chayecho elo yomim, kol yomei chayecho elo haleilos. This posik is about Zechiras Yetzias Mitzrayim, every morning and every evening. So we have 2 different mitzvahs, Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim and Zechiras Yetzias Mitzrayim. What is the difference between the 2? B'Leila Seder, we also say Hallel. And the Gemara Psachim Daf Lamed Vav, source number 3, Rabbi Kiva, Haide Krinam Bei Oini. What does Lechem Oini mean? 2 different interpretations. One is Lechem Aniyim, and that is matzah. Rabbi Kiva says it is also Kiddushmur Lechem Oini, Lechem Sha'oinen, Olav Devorah Ma'arba. Rashi says Goimrim Olav Esahalel, V'oimrim Olav Hagodah. So B'Leila Seder, it's not only telling the story, it is also Hoidoya. Every morning and every evening, we don't have a mitzvah of Hallel. It's just Zechiras Yetzias Mitzrayim. So one thing that is special and unique is Hallel is part of the mitzvah. We could scroll down to source number 7, and then we'll come back up to source number 5. Source number 7, I think, is Sefer HaMitzvas. Here we are. Mitzvah Kuf Nun Zayin shetzivonu l'sapa b'Yetzias Mitzrayim b'leil chamishosa b'nisim b'tchilas halayla u'kifi tzachas l'shoyna mesapa v'kol ma sheyosev b'mama v'yalech hadvorim v'gdolos ma she'osa lanu Hashem ומה שעשו למצרים מעוול וחמאס ואיכלו כחשב נקמוסנו מהם ובהוידויס לא יסבורך על מה שגמלנו מחסודו יהיה יויסר טוב. And that is what Chazal mean when they say Kol HaMalech l'saper harei meshubach. But the Rambam stresses בהוידויס לא יסבורך על מה שגמלנו. So Sefer HaMitzvahs is a brief description of the essence of the mitzvah without going into all the details. That is the difference between Mishnah Torah and Sefer HaMitzvahs. Mishnah Torah is all the details, all the protim. Sefer HaMitzvahs is just the mitzvah d'oraisa. And the Rambam includes in the mitzvah d'oraisa, B'hoidois lo yisborach al ma shigmalonu mechasodov. So we see in the Rambam, not only in the Gemara, Hallel is an essential and integral part of the mitzvah of Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. Let's scroll down to the Emek Brocha. And let me tell you something about the Emek Brocha, and then we'll come back up. The Emek Brocha was a Talmud of the Brisk Rav. His name was Aryeh Pomeranchik. Here we are. And many Yetzias of the Brisk Rav we know only from the Emek Brocha. He wrote 3 magnificent Sforim. What is shocking to everyone, he passed away when he was 30 years old, a younger man. He had a very short life. He was 30 years old when he passed away. I might even be mistaking. Maybe he was 28. I think he was 30 years old. And like the Yerushalmi says on Rav Bun, Shona Rav Bun, B'chov Beis Shenoisa Mashet Talmud Vosik Lomed B'Meya Shono. He was such an Ilui, this amazing younger man. He wrote 3 magnificent Sforim. Emek Brocha is the best known. And in this section, Emek Brocha, and Agudah shel Pesach Siman Aleph, he quotes, what is the difference between Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim and Zechiras Yetzias Mitzrayim? Venera. Al pisha bashe shomati memori v'Rabbi Agayve de Brisk Shlit, b'shem Ovev Moron Hagrach Alevi. So the Brisk Rav quoted his great father Rab Chaim. Shebachol shona b'shas haseder shel Pesach hoyu mevaya lefnei b'nei Beisoy, ma'u mitzvah shel Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. Harei b'chol hashana yesh mitzvah shel Zechiras Yetzias Mitzrayim. אם כן, מה נתוסף עושה הלילה על ידי המצווה של סיפור מה שאין בזכירה? והיו אומר, and Reb Chaim said there are three differences between the mitzvah every morning and evening and the mitzvah of Leila Seder. שהחילק של זכירה לסיפור בגימל דבורים. חודה, number one, שבזכירה אין צורך אלא להזכיר לעצמו. אבל סיפור הוא לספר לאחר דרך שיילה ותשובה כדכסב, והיו כי ישלחו בנכו, והגדו לבנכו ביום ההוא לאמור. That is the pasuk with which we started today's shiur. והגדו לבנכו, הבן שואל מה נשתנו, ואב משב עבודם הוינו. ואפילו לבד שואל עצמו מה נשתנו כדרך סיפור לאחר. ועוד חילוק, שבזכירה אין צורך אלא להזכיר יציאה ממצרים לבד, אבל בסיפור צורך לספר כל השטרות שלו וצורך להתחיל בגנוס ולסיים בשבח. Number one, Balela said you need to tell someone else and not talk to yourself. Number two, מתחיל בגנוס ולסיים בשבח. ועוד נתוסף במצווה סיפור. לספר תמי המצוות שלו יישא הלילה. רבא גמליאל אומר, כל שלו יאמר ג' דבורים, אלו בפסח לא יוצא ידי חויבוסוי. Okay, so Reb Chaim said, three differences. הרי להדיה שכל הג' חלוקים אלה כולם נכללים במצווה של והגדתו לבנכו במצווה של סיפור, וכיוון שמצווה שיחס כוונה, היה מצווה לכוון לצייס וגימל דבורם אלה. So, I have a great comment, and I don't mean to disagree with the Brisk Rav, but the Brisk Rav doesn't write it in a sefer, and neither do we find it in Reb Chaim al Rambam. So, Zochu HaGedolim lebeis Brisk. You know, Brisk has become such a central part of the Torah world, and especially in America, more than in Eretz Yisrael. Every talented yeshiva boy in America has a dream of coming to learn in Brisk culture. My son-in-law, Einish, that many of you know, he is the one in charge of the Maranakoimus that we get every week. He's my right-hand man, and he's the biggest bookie in Minchas Osher in the world. When I look for something in Minchas Osher, I wouldn't remember. He has a photographic memory, and I ask him. So Brisk is unique, and every American yeshiva bucher wants to go on Brisk, and Einish learned in Brisk. And today, there are many break-offs from Brisk. Other yeshivas, I'm not familiar with all of them, but many Brisk number 2, and number 3, and number 4, and number 5. More than Israelis. Israeli Buchim go to Punavish, they go to Hebron. Brisk is mostly Americans for some reason, I don't know why. But anyway, the two fundamental svarim are Reb Chaim al Rambam and the Griz al Rambam. And this idea is not found neither in Reb Chaim and nor in the Griz al Rambam. And therefore I take the liberty of somewhat a different interpretation. I think all three halachas that the Emek Brocha quotes from the Brisk Rav are not Ben HaTorah and they're not Ma'akev. Number one, שבזכיר אין צורך אלא להזכיר עצמו, אבל סיפור לספר לאחר. But he himself writes, if he has no son, shoyeres atzmai. So one cannot say that Balela said that it is essential to tell the story to someone else. Let's scroll up now, and go back to the Gemara. Let's go back to the Gemara, and first stop Rambam. Rambam, let's stop. Let's stop on our way up. On our way up, let's stop with the Rambam. Okay, first we have the Gemara. Let's see the Gemara. So the Gemara clearly says, the Mishnah, Maz Galoi Kosheni Vekana Ben Soyalov Emen Dasa Ben Ove Melamdoi Lefidati Shel Ben Imrav Shoyeres Atzmoi. If the basic nafkamena between Leila Seder and every day is talking to yourself or talking to others, how could it be Yetzias Shoyeres Atzmoi? You're mevatel the mitzvah. You need to see to it that you have someone to talk to. You have a son. If you don't have a son, someone else. So Shoyeres Atzmoi definitely proves you're mekayem the mitzvah even though you have no one to talk to. Number two, matchel begnis umesayem b'shevach. It's not in the Rambam. It's not in the Rambam, neither in Mishnah Torah, nor in Sefer HaMitzvos. It is in the Rambam, but it's not Min Torah. That is just what Chazal taught us. It's not in the Rambam. The Rambam says you need to tell the story. Kol ma sheYosef, ma she'oso amon ha'mitzvah ma'aval ha'machomes, look at Hashem. So maybe this is matchel begnis u'mesayim b'shevach, but the Rambam doesn't stress it. And number three, Gimel, kol shelo yomer Gimel dvorim, lo yotze dechavosoi. The Ram says, lo yotze dechavosoi min ha'muvchar. But it's not ma'akev. Let's see the Rambam, we scroll up. I think it's number 6. Mishnah Torah, Halacha Aleph. Mitzvas asay shel Torah l'saper b'nisan v'nafur shenasu b'beseinu b'Mitzrayim b'leil chamishosa b'nisan. Shenei mazocher asay yoimazeh sheyatzosem b'Mitzrayim. This is the mitzvah min ha-Torah. Af al pi she'ein lo ben. אפילו חכמים גדולים חיובם לספר ביציאס מצרים. וכל המערך הרי זה משובח. משרד ילבון אפילו לא שאלו. צורך לעשות שינוי. צורך להתחיל בגניס ומסיים בשמח. But the mitzvah diuraisa is לספר בניסים ונפלויס. So I think Reb Chaim Brisker wanted to stress what is the difference halacha lemaisa between Leila Seder and every day? And the question he was addressing is, what is unique about Leila Seder? And how is it different than what we need to do every morning and every evening? His question he was addressing is lav dafka the mitzvah min haTorah. But what is the difference? What is unique about Leila Seder? And he was right by quoting those 3 fundamentals. But the question, min haTorah, what is the difference? Has 3 different answers. Number 1, the essential difference between telling a story and mentioning. If we translate Zechira and Sipur, Sipur is a story. Zechira is mention. Every day and every night, we do not need to tell a story. We just need to mention. Zechira Yetzias Mitzrayim. Psachim Kuf Yud Zayin, the Gemara says, Surah Lahaski Yetzias Mitzrayim b'Kiddush Hayoim. When you say Kiddush, you have a mitzvah lahaski Yetzias Mitzrayim. How will we maski Yetzias Mitzrayim b'Kiddush Hayoim? 3 words and no more. Tchilah Mekor Kodesh, Zecher Yetzias Mitzrayim. Schiras Yetzias Mitzrayim is mentioning, B'leila Seder, the mitzvah is Sipur. Sipur demands details, and many times I give a moshel, because the koyach of a moshel is to explain things in simple words. I want to turn off my phone. I apologize, one moment. So what is the difference between Zechira and Sipur? Mommy tells a story to her children to put them to sleep every night. One day, Mommy is busy in the kitchen, and she asks Abba, "Could you tell the story instead of me? I'm busy." Father sits down next to the bed between Yankala and Miri, and he starts thinking, 20 years ago, we moved from America to Eretz Yisrael. And he's silent. Yankala says, "Abba, that's not a story. Mommy tells us a story." And the guy scratches his head. Oh, I need to tell a story. Yeah, 20 years ago, before we came to Eretz Yisrael, we lived in America. Miri says, "Abba, that's not a story. Mommy tells us a story." The guy's frustrated, comes into the kitchen, and he says, "My dear wife, I don't know how to do this. Please, leave the kitchen. I'll take care of the children." Ima comes in. She sits between Moshelo, Yankala, and Miri, and she says, "Once upon a time, we lived in America, and Abba came home one day in the morning, so excited. And he said, I decided we have enough money, we could afford it. We are going to move in Eretz Yisrael. And we are all so happy. And then we started packing up, and we brought crates, and we worked 4 months and trying to pack up, and we went to the airport. And it was such an amazing ride, and you looked out of the windows and you saw the clouds, and we came to Eretz Yisrael, and we moved to Yerushalayim." Before she's through, Moshe and Miri are sound asleep. A story demands details. Zechira demands no details. And that is the fundamental difference between Sipur and Zechira. Beyond that, let's look at the Rambam again. Mitzvahs asayshal Torah l'saper b'nisim v'neflois. You need to stress that there were nisim v'neflois. So a little kid comes home from Sunday school. He doesn't go to day school. He goes to a conservative Sunday school. And by Seder, his father asks him, "What did they tell you about Yetzias Mitzrayim?" And the little boy starts telling a story. Thousands of years ago, we were slaves in a distant land called Egypt for hundreds of years. And then the Jews had a charismatic leader. His name was Moshe Rabbeinu. And he gave hope to the people. And he organized a rebellion. And the rebellion was successful. And they fought the Egyptians. And they crossed the River Jordan on a bridge. And when Paro was at the top of the bridge, they detonated TNT. And they exploded the bridge. And Paro drowned in the Jordan. Most of the things that kid is saying are true, no doubt. Moshe was a charismatic leader, and he gave hope to the people. But this story is Dvorim B'Telem, and it was not Yotzei the Mitzvah of Yetzias Mitzrayim, because the Rambam writes, "L'saper b'nisim v'neflois shenasu l'avosseinu." You need to stress, it was not b'derech hateva. And this brings us back to the introduction I said from the Ramban. It is all about miracles. It is all about believing in miracles. Benisim ha'mifursamim and benisim ha'nestorim. So the first difference between Sipur and Zechira is details and miracles. For Zechiras Yetzias Mitzrayim, you don't need to mention any miracles. But B'leila Seder, that is the mitzvah. L'saper benisim v'neflois shenasu l'avosseinu b'Mitzrayim. That is number one. Number two, Schiras Yetzias Mitzrayim doesn't answer the question when. Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim is L'sapa b'Nisan for Shenasa Rabseinu Belel Chamisha Oso b'Nisan Zocher es Hayoim Hazeh Asher Yetzosa b'Mitzrayim Es Hayoim Hazeh. Belel Seder, you need to stress when. When did it happen? Tonight. Zocher es Hayoim Hazeh. The mitzvah of all year round, Lamantis Keres Yom Tzeischa. Hayoim Hazeh is Belel Seder. And let's have a look at this Rambam. Shenema Zocher es Hayoim Hazeh Asher Yetzosa b'Mitzrayim Kamo Shenema Zocher es Hayoim Shabbos L'Katshoi. What is the comparison? What does the Rambam mean? Kamo Shenema Zocher es Hayoim Shabbos L'Katshoi. There are shes zechiros. Let's scroll down to the Rambam Sefer HaMitzvos. We see the same thing. He says the same in Sefer HaMitzvos. L'sapa b'Yetzias Mitzrayim belel chamishosa betchilas halayla kafi tzachos l'shoinoi and kol amar b'L'sapa ha'reza mishivach v'gadot levi, nachon, and metchilas halayla tzorach l'sapa. I think the Rambam here as well. Kia, Kleimer, shezet tzivul hazochre kamoy amoroi zocher es yom haShabbos lekatshoi. So in both sources, the Rambam says zocher b'leil seder kamoy zocher es yom haShabbos lekatshoi. Why doesn't he write kamoy zocher es osalachu amorek b'derech b'tzeischo meMitzrayim? Of all the shesh schiras, there are only two in which we stress today. All the others, we tell a story. Nobody knows exactly when we fought Amalek. What was the date? We don't know the date. It is only in these two. Zocher es Yom HaShabbos lekatshoi. We say, this is the day in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu was shoyves memasa bereishis. This is the day. And the same Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. And that is the second nafka mina. It is only B'leil Seder that we stress, Kindalach, this is the night. Ma nishtanu halaylo hazeh mekol halaylos. That is the fundamental question. And our answer is, B'layla hazeh, Hatziyun HaKadosh Baruch Hu meMitzrayim. That is number two. Number three is you need to vocalize. Sorech lahashmiya la'aznav. Schiras Yetzias Mitzrayim, like Tefillah, like Berchas Hamazon, like Kriyas Shema, like all the other mitzvahs shebediver. Sorech lahoitzi b'svosov, ein sorech lahashmiya la'aznav. But a story is not a story unless somebody could listen to that story. Em ein lo ben shoya lesatzmoi. But even if you're alone, you need to tell a story. And what is unique about a story, no one is around, but you're still telling a story. And a story is only a story if somebody could hear that story. And that is the third difference between Zechiras Yetzias Mitzrayim every morning and every evening and Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. Let's go down back to the Emek Brocha, because I don't like to disagree with the Brisk, especially when he quotes his great father Reb Chaim. But let us remember, I once again say, it's not in the Krach and it's not in the Gris. We know this Torah from Kli Shlishi, from Reb Aryeh Pomeranchik, who was a younger man, and he was an amazing Ilui. I don't doubt what he said, but maybe there's no stira between what I say and what Reb Aryeh quotes. Choda, number one, Shebeschira ein tzorech ela lahaskel yasma Yetzias Mitzrayim, aval Sipur lesaper lacher derech shala v'tshuva והוא אהב מישהו, ואפילו היה לבד, הוא שואל את עצמו מה נשתנה כדרך סיפור לאחר. So yes, he says, you need to tell someone else, but that is not the ikar. He himself writes, שואל את עצמו, כדרך סיפור לאחר. Which means, yes, it's a story. And even if you're alone, the nature of the story is the same. It's a story. כדרך סיפור לאחר. Which means, even though you're alone, no one is listening, but you need to go into the details and need to speak about miracles, because it's not only relating the miracles to someone else, it is relating the miracles to yourself. And כדרך סיפור לאחר also requires להשמיע לאוזניו. Tamei HaMitzvahs are not ma'akev, but they are an essential part of Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, which means it is not only telling the story, you also need to explain the kesher between matzah and maror and the story we are to tell, the story we are to hear. What is the kesher between Mitzvahs sheba'achila and Mitzvahs HaSipur? Because the spirit of Leila Seder is Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. And this story needs to be with you all year round. It is from this story we need to take inspiration to believe in miracles, in Nisim HaNistorim. It is from this story that we believe that's what's happening now in Eretz Yisrael is a miracle. Because there will be these goyim and these people, these non-believers that will try to explain you the amazing technology that the Americans developed and Israelis helped them. We believe in miracles, not only in the obvious ones, but benisim hanistorim as well. And that is why the Rambam says, Lesaper benisim v'nefloi she'ozu HaKadosh Baruch Hu em avoseinu. This is not required every morning and every evening. It is required b'leil haseder. You need to explain to your children, yes, Moshe was a charismatic leader and he gave hope to the people. That's not the story. The story is makas dam tzvardeya kinem orev choshech makas b'choros kriyas yamsuf. That's the story. The nisim v'neflois she'osu HaKadosh Baruch Hu im avoseinu. And you need to tell the story, regardless of is anybody listening or not, even if no one is there. But you need to talk to yourself. And the nature of the Sipur is the same nature as if you're preaching to the crowd. You need to vocalize, Lashmiya la'aznav, and the same story. And we tell the story each and every year. So the three fundamentals are the difference between mentioning and telling a story. A story demands details. And which details? Nisim v'neflois, Aseres HaMakos, and other Nisim. And one wonders, because in the Nusach of Agudah of Pesach, there is not much emphasis on the Nisim v'neflois. We do mention the Makos. And then we mention the discussion, how many Nisim were there? 10, 100. Alayam, b'Mitzrayim. Seder Leil Pesach is a compilation of Mamorei Chazal, of Halachos, Mishnayos and Brises. It is clear to me that beyond the Nusach of the Haggadah, there's a mitzvah of taking time and speaking more about the miracles and about the story. So in Agudah of Pesach Minchas Osher, I don't think it's available in America now because it was out of print. We just reprinted it in Eretz Yisrael. I hope it is. But there's an extra section, a compilation of midrashim about miracles, many different miracles that happened. And I think beyond saying the Haggadah, it is important for everybody to prepare the Haggadah and to relate to the children sitting around the table, to the adults as well, how miraculous Yetzias Mitzrayim was, how many miracles of different nature. Every one of the Aseres HaMakkos had miracles upon miracles. Ze lemala mizeh, zu lefonim mizu. And that is number one. Number two is stressing this is the night that all happened in this day. All the Zechiras, only these two stress the day. This is the day Shaboy Shavaz ve'yanofash HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is the day Shaboy Yetzolam Mitzrayim. And number three, a story needs to be heard. And no matter who is listening, it needs to be heard. All the other mitzvahs shebedibet tzorach loytzi v'sosa ve'ein tzorach lishmiya lasnav k'mavor v'brochas daf tezvav. Yetzias Mitzrayim needs to be heard. The world needs to hear the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim. The entire nation needs to hear the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim. Because as long as we remember the miracles of Yetzias Mitzrayim, we will believe and appreciate Nisim HaNistorim Sheheim Yesod Kol HaTorah Kulo. So let me finish today's Shiur with a mashal. It's a modern mashal, so don't look for it by the Maggid Medubna. You know who the Hasidic equivalent was to the Maggid Medubna? It's not very well known. The Maggid Medubna was a Talmud of the Vilna Gaon. I don't know a Talmud, but he was in the time of the Vilna Gaon. He was a chassid of the Vilna Gaon. There's a Hasidic equivalent to the Maggid Medubna, and that was Reb Heinech Alexander in the days of the Kotzker Rebbe, in the Chotzer of Peshischa. And he has nothing to do with the Shoshelas of Hasidi Alexander. Reb Heinech Alexander was the Baal HaMosholim of the Hasidic world, and he has some beautiful Mosholim. But the Moshel I'm sharing with you today is my Moshel, and it's a modern Moshel, so don't look for it neither by Reb Heinech Alexander nor by the Maggid Medubna. What is the difference between Schias Yetzias Mitzrayim and Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim? You buy a new phone, whether it's a simple telephone or a dumb phone, a kosher phone, or chas v'sholem, a modern smartphone, whatever you have a feature which is speed dial. You don't need to punch 10 keys to call your family or friends. You punch one key and all the 10 numbers appear on your screen. And that's a great feature. It's a great technology. It's a time saver. However, you need to have a lot of patience to put all those numbers into the system, into the memory, and that takes time. So when you buy a new phone, take a deep breath, take 20 minutes out of your precious day and say, this is going to be nerve-wracking. It's going to take 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You need to take out that boring book, the manual, and to read how to put all those numbers into the memory of your phone. But you want to do it because in the long run, it's a huge time saver. You press one key instead of 10. So my mashal is, Belayla Seder, you need to put all those details of the story into the memory. And if you had a beautiful Seder, at Shabbat Talmideim v'amru Rabbeinu Hagiyas Man Kriya Shema, all year round. You just need to punch one little key and everything comes up automatically. And that is why Belela Seder, take your time. No rush. No rush, Belela Seder, take your time. It might be a bit nerve-wracking, but a week or two before Pesach, take out your favorite Haggadahs, do some homework. Don't sit there like a nut, Belela Seder, when all your Einiklech are looking at you and you open one Agudah after the other looking for something to say. No. Take your time. Have patience. A week before Pesach, your favorite Agudah should be on your table. Do some homework. Make some notes. What do I want to relate to my children in Einiklech? What do I want to stress? What is the message I would like them to take away from this Leil Seder? Takes time, takes patience, but in the long run, it's the greatest investment. And if you did it properly, Belela Seder, everything is in the memory all year long. You just need to mention Zeichel Yetzias Mitzrayim, morning and evening, and everything will float up to the top, and all those numbers will appear on your screen. That is the difference between Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim and Zechiras Yetzias Mitzrayim. So, my dear friends, we should all have a Gehoiben a Seder. And today we spoke about the fundamentals. What is it that sets apart Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim Belela Seder from Zechiras Yetzias Mitzrayim every morning and every evening, all year round? So I will discuss with the Reb Shlomo about next week Sunday. I hope I could make it. Obviously, I'm not going to be in South Africa, but I still don't have any plans, so we'll be in touch. I hope we'll speak to each other before Pesach. If we don't, have a beautiful Yom Tov and a Gehoiben Leila Seder, and we should all share B'Seiros Tovos, and this war should be over on the best oifen possible, and we should only hear Nisim v'Neflois. Sheyekuyam banu divrei hakosov ki ameitzeichem me'eretz Mitzrayim arenu niflois, and we should be zoicha to binyan beis hamikdash b'mheiro v'yomeinu amen.